All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we got the one, the only, the legendary DJ Hurricane, one of the first to do it and one of the best to do it. How are you doing this afternoon?
Oh, what's going on, Canada?
I first and foremost have to say, Hurricane, quickly, thank you so much in advance for just giving us a little bit of your time this afternoon. I've been a huge fan for many, many years. You're actually one of the inspirations on why I wanted to become a DJ. So thank you for everything you did for the hip hop community.
Wow, thank you for all that nice, great words that you just said about me.
You're most certainly welcome, man. But I want to take you right back to the beginning, and I have to ask you. I noticed as well that you were the first, that the first hip hop experience was with Davey DMX. He was the first, hip hop DJ from Hollis, Queens. I have to ask you, how did you actually meet him, and actually, what was it like being his MC?
Yeah, well, actually, we both from Hollis, Queens, was a very small neighborhood. And at the time, I was a very young kid, 12 or 13 years old. And I always had DJ equipment in my house because my older sisters and brothers used to DJ. But, they didn't do hip-hop. They would mix it. Sister back then. And then I got a hold of a tape. I've always heard DJ Hollywood rap, but then I got a hold of a tape of the Furious 4. And I started listening to them actually perform over these crazy records with breakbeats in it I never heard before. So I was on a quest to find somebody in Queens that actually had those records and was actually scrapping them back and forth. And then I ran into Davey D, who was DJing at a center in Hollis, Queens, and he was doing exactly what I was looking for. And I met his brother, Tommy T, and I started rapping and freestyling. And then he introduced me to his brother Davey, and we formed a group called Solo Sounds, which was the first really hip-hop group out of Hollis, Queens, Solo Sounds. And at the time, I watched Davey scratch, so I taught myself how to scratch just by watching him. And I taught myself how to rap as well. So, Solo Sounds started doing a lot of park jams and block parties. Then we started doing battles against Grandmaster Flash and so on. And then Curtis Blow used to come and perform with us, and then Curtis Blow needed a DJ. So he wound up taking Davey D, and Davey D had all the equipment. So when he took Davey, Solo Sounds was on the hiatus because Davey had all the equipment. But that's how I started.
And also, as well, I noticed that you actually formed the hip-hop group, the Afros. That was actually the first group signed to Def Jam Recordings back in the day. I was wondering if you can tell us a story behind the Afros, and of course, how does it feel to know that you were one of the very first individuals signed to one of hip-hop's biggest labels of all time?
Well, it wasn't the first rap group signed to Def Jam. It was the first rap group came out on Jam Master Jay's label, which was with Def Jam. So it's called Russ Associated Labels, and it's J&J Records. And we were the first rap group to come out on J&J Records under Def Jam.
Oh, my apologies on that, but I'm actually glad you corrected me. That way I can make sure my listeners actually know. My apologies on that, Hurricane.
No, it's all good. You ask questions and get the truth, so.
And I have to ask you as well with the Afros. Are you guys gonna do maybe a reunion or anything like that, or you guys have any new projects coming out? I know it has been a while since you guys did some stuff.
Oh well, we actually recorded another album, but it's never released. So we may just put that stuff out. That'd be nice.
And also as well, you were the main DJ for the Beastie Boys for 13 plus years. I have to ask you, what's the story behind that? And of course, how did you get connected with the Beastie Boys?
The story behind that is I was on tour. I was on a Raising Hell tour with Run DMC, Jam Master Jay, and Dr. Dre from MTV Raps. We quit the group because they left him in Miami, and we came downstairs in the lobby, and he was in the lobby, and we was like, "Yo, what's going on?" He was like, "Yo, they left me." And after that, he was like, "I'm done with these guys." So those guys was really stuck. But no DJ, and back then if you didn't have a DJ, you really, it wasn't hip hop, so you couldn't really perform. So they asked me right before showtime would I DJ for them. At that time they only had 2 or 3 records, and it wasn't like a job that everybody was asking for because those guys were pretty wild back then. You know, at first, you know, I was very hesitant to do it because those guys were really crazy. And then I decided to do it. You know, I decided to help them out, basically. They needed the help.
And I agree with you on that. That when they were younger, they were some pretty crazy individuals. Like, probably, like I remember watching an older interview on YouTube, and they were acting all crazy during the interview. And I noticed you were just sitting there being like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, a lot of times you see those guys in interviews, I'm pretty much just standing there looking because, you know, I try to blend in, but I wasn't into the wild antic like that. I was more of a cool cat than a wild cat.
And the one question I always wanted to ask you, I don't know if this is true or not, because I ended up watching an interview. It's it's sort of a newer one with the Beastie Boys and Spike Jonze. But Spike Jonze was talking about during the Sure Shot filming of the music video that MCA actually took his camera and threw it in the river or something like that. Like, if that story is true, like, what actually transpired to make MCA actually just like chuck his camera into the water?
Actually, when he did do that, I was just like, you know, these guys was always trying crazy new stuff. So, you know, I've seen crazier stuff than that.
Oh, most definitely, probably, especially like in the tour hotel rooms and whatnot. But pertaining to Sure Shot, what was it like actually being a part of that music video? Because that music video was like solidified within hip hop history as probably one of the.
Actually, the most amazing thing about that is when I pulled up to the video, and it was you know, they had those big cranes that when you're having a building built, they got the cranes that lift the very heavy cement in the air and move it left and right or up and down. They had a big crane, and they had a camera hanging from the crane, and the camera was in a frame of like iron. So we had to, when you see that video, you see us swinging on something, we're actually swinging, grabbing the camera frame and swinging back and forth on the big crane.
That's actually really cool. Like, I was actually wondering how you guys actually did that. My wife was saying it was probably a crane, but I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll bring it up during the interview. But it looks like you already brought it up. But that's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's a crane.
And also, before we move off the topic of the Beastie Boys, the one thing I do want to ask you, because you were their DJ for 13 years, I have to ask you, man, like, what was one of your most fondest memories that you actually shared just being a part of that group?
Oh, man, so many years, so many memories, man. You know, never one moment that you can say was the best moment. Some of the most memorable moments probably would be when we went to Jerusalem, and I remember just doing a show in Poland. And we were the first black group to be in Poland. So before, you know, I was also the opening act for them around that time. I would perform before they come on stage. That's when I had the Horror LP. And I would perform before they go on stage, and then I go backstage and change up, and then come out and DJ for them. So we had a bomb threat in Poland, and the promoter came back on the stage and said, "Hey guys, we got a bomb threat. We're going to have to clear everybody out and search the building, and you guys won't be able to go back on to like another 5 hours." And it was already like 10, and we were like, "Man, we're gonna go on anyway." So I'm gonna be on stage performing, thinking like, "Yo, we're gonna die. Like the bomb's gonna go off, and we're gonna die on stage." So the whole time we performing, I'm thinking we're dead. But nothing went off. So afterwards, they thought it was another promoter that was just trying to sabotage the show.
That must have been crazy. During your guys' performance, were like individuals trying to like get you off the stage? Were they like talking in your earpiece, being like, "Yo, you need to get off the stage"?
Yeah, the promoter was trying to get us not to finish the show, but by then, you know, we was already up there. So.
That's pretty crazy, though. You know what I mean? It's I knew the Beastie Boys were crazy, but I didn't think they were that crazy to go on stage during a bomb threat. But I am glad that nothing did go off and that your performance went as smoothly as it possibly could be.
Yeah, pretty good. It was pretty good.
And also in 1999, you actually started your own production company called Don't Sleep Productions. I have to ask you, what made you decide to start that up? And of course, is it still going on today?
Yeah, Don't Sleep Productions. It was something that I wanted to do quite some time. And yes, we are still in effect. We're still making beats. We're still making music. It was just something I always wanted to do. It wasn't spontaneous. It was all a plan. And then I dropped the Don't Sleep album on TNT Records to launch it.
And I have to say, Don't Sleep Productions, back in the day, had so many people that you actually worked with, man. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a good deal, man. That album, I worked with Faith Evans. I worked with Black Thought for the Roots. I worked with Scott Whelan from Stone Temple Pilots. I worked with Billy from Green Day. I worked with a lot of people, man. There's a lot going on.
And also, one of my favorite albums by you that I still actually have on CD to this day. In the year 2000, you actually released your third studio record titled Don't Sleep. I have to ask you, what's the story behind that phenomenal album? And do you have any plans to release a fourth record?
Yeah, the thing behind Don't Sleep was I wanted to do a record with a bunch of different artists, and I wanted to produce a bunch of artists. So, I had already did the Horror LP where I rapped on every song, but the Don't Sleep LP, I wanted to not rap on every song. I wanted to produce every song, and I wanted to get artists together, like a collaboration of an album with hip hop, rock, and R&B. So that's how that came about.
And also with Don't Sleep, I gotta say my favorite track off that record is actually Connect. I love how you brought the East Coast, the West Coast, and the South Coast together. That song, in my personal opinion, is one of my favorite songs that you ever created.
Yeah, that was an idea that nobody was doing at the time, to actually put somebody from the West Coast, the East Coast, and the South on us. The biggest thing, the biggest issue I had with making that record was trying to make a track that didn't sound West Coast, didn't sound East Coast, it didn't sound South. So I had to try to put something together to balance out everything.
And I gotta say, that song most definitely has a good balance because you got a little bit of everything within that song.
Yeah, it's a great song, man. Awesome.
And also as well that you actually did some production work as well for the late great MC Breed. I have to ask you, how did yourself and MC Breed actually get connected, and what was it like just working on his record with him?
Yeah, MC Breed, man, was one of the most incredible rappers I ever met. His style was incredible. He's an awesome writer. We met in Atlanta, and as soon as we met, we just started vibing. Me, him, and the DOC, and another group called Sniper Unit. We used to always hang out together. And, I had a bunch of records, and I just started producing some songs for Breed. And then I produced a song for George Clinton on Breed's album. And then Breed got on my album. So we were just cross-working with each other. Then we shot a video together. He was a really good friend, man. He was really good. He was an incredible guy.
And it must have been really cool as well being able to have the opportunity to work with George and MC Breed at the same time.
Yeah, man. I grew up listening to Funkadelic, you know what I mean? So to have the opportunity to do something, to have him actually sing on it was incredible. And I also met him again during the Lollapalooza tour when he was on tour with us, and he signed all of my albums, all of my Funkadelic albums. So I got an autograph of every album from George Clinton.
And also, via Instagram, I noticed as well that about Jay's Hat Radio. I have to ask you, what made you actually decide to start that radio station, and where can our listeners find your app, and of course, listen to your radio station?
Yeah, just download Jay's Hat Radio. It's an app. It's a free app. You can download it on your phone. It's everywhere. You can get it anywhere you want to get it. It's on there. Google, everything. What made me want to start it is I just wanted to put out something that was free and clean versions, something you could play around your family, something that you can also see with the concerts in my house. I just wanted to do something different, and this is it.
And I gotta say as well, Hurricane, it is a phenomenal radio station. When I noticed that on your Instagram, I actually downloaded the app, and I've been jamming to it as well. I really do love the old school hip hop classics that you actually have on this radio station.
Yeah, man, that's what it's about. Classic. When you got something classic, it never gets played out. So that's what it's all about. The radio station is all about classic hip hop. A lot of my friends. It's a lot of hard work, not easy work. You got to make sure, it's a 24-hour clock, just like a radio station. So you got to make sure everything's tight.
And also, as we already know, you are a hip hop pioneer DJ. Like you're like I said in the beginning, you're one of the first and one of the best to ever do it. But I have to ask you, what is some great advice that you can actually give some inspiring DJs that really do want to make their mark within the hip hop community?
Inspiring, I would say you have to stay on your grind. You gotta practice, and practice. And once you keep practicing, you get good. If you don't practice, you ain't gonna be no good. So just keep practicing.
And I have to ask you, DJ Hurricane, what's next for you? Is there anything else other than the radio station you want to promote? Anything else you want to let our live listeners know? We still have you here live on Outlaw Radio FM.
Well, right now, I just want everybody to focus on the app, Jay's High Radio app. I want everybody to download it, and once you download that, you'll start hearing all kind of other things that's going to happen in my career. So let's just stay focused on that,
Most definitely. Everybody that's listening, pull open your phones right now, whether you got Android, whether you got Apple, download the app, check it out. I'm telling you, I listen to it, so most definitely check it out. And so, Hurricane, this is the time in the interview, right before I wrap things up, that I give a chance for the individual that comes on the radio station, just a chance to give their social media handles. That way they have the opportunity to follow you and everything DJ Hurricane if they're not already doing so.
Okay. You want me to let everybody know how to catch a hold of me?
Yes, please.
DJ Hurricane 1 on Instagram, DJ Hurricane on Facebook, DJ Hurricane 2 on Twitter. That's how you get a hold of me.
And I gotta say, DJ Hurricane, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy evening. I hope your event actually goes well tonight. Is it a public event? If so, could you actually quickly let our listeners know where they can actually come and see DJ Hurricane tonight?
I'm not playing tonight. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, because like I thought when we because originally the interview was 8:30, so I thought you said you had an event tonight. My apologies.
Oh no, it's not. I'm not having an event tonight. I have a friend. It's his birthday.
Oh, my apologies.
He's having a private event.
Okay, my apologies on that. I just wanted to make sure that like if it was a public event, like how we can help you sell some more tickets, right? So, my apologies on that.
You can't have public events right now. It's COVID. Unfortunately, everything you do has to be private.
That is most definitely true, Hurricane. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy evening and coming on the radio station. It was an absolute honor and most definitely a privilege. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's been awesome. Have a good day, and peace to all your listeners, and download Jay's Hot Radio.
Most definitely. Thank you so much.
Peace and love.